Hi, Misha here, and haven't done a black box in, a couple of weeks. Actually, haven't done many videos on this personal channel, a couple of weeks. Nothing's wrong, I just, my mind hasn't been there. Ironically, about a month ago, my mind wasn't there to make videos for the main Mishaco channel, so I've made a lot of model videos over here. But the last couple of weeks, I've been focused more on Mishaco channel videos. And haven't had any new models to talk about. And it's just kind of not where my head's at right now, if that makes sense. So, but I wanted to do a black box just to kind of check in. So, how you doing? Because this is Arkansas, the weather went from actually quite cool, at least cool-ish for the season in April and May. Also very wet, very rainy. It felt like we barely could ever have 2 days without some rain. Too fucking hot. It went from, low 80s, upper 70s to low 90s to mid 90s. The problem here, the humidity is never great in Arkansas, but when you've had a whole month of rain, really a whole spring of rain, for being honest, and then it goes from low 80s to mid 90s, it gets really humid. So even though our highs have only been 95, it definitely feels miserable. I'm sitting outside right now, just walked out. It's I'm recording this about 10 o'clock at night. It's disgusting. I would hate to have to actually go for a walk. But, yeah. Apparently I'm an old man now because I'm talking about the weather for this long. The truth is, I don't have anything major to talk about. I haven't watched any new shows of note lately. I've had various little projects coming to fruition. I posted the Italian Beretta AR-7090 video over on the main channel. Finally got that done. COVID really delayed that one. Don't really have any other kit builds I'm looking to finish up. Yeah, I don't really know. Not really anything new. I know that the next batch of items left Zurich, Switzerland this week, but that is mostly magazines, buttstocks, and etc., with a handful of guns like the 5.53, maybe some 7.51s, but it's all small quantity stuff, and as far as I know, it's all stuff that sold out weeks ago. Nothing new from Poland. Of course, there's been a few WBPs. And again, it's kind of funny, we didn't get any models in the model world, then all of a sudden, May, and a lot dropped. And now here we are, mid-June, and it's been nothing again. So we'll have to see if anything new gets released. I'm sure, I know it will cycle back around. A couple of months ago I had the urge to really talk about aircraft carriers. And then I had the urge to talk about tanks. Especially on this channel, the personal one. I just kind of go with what I want. And, if I'm not in the mood to make a video or just don't really have a topic, I don't. But, Yeah, the political front, the lines are drawn, and very few people are changing positions now. Yeah, they can have hearings and commissions and on both sides, but not going to win a lot of hearts and minds at this point. People have kind of drawn their lines, and that's where we're at. The most recent black box before this one, I talked about the events in New York and Texas. Because of the way our news cycle works, that's already kind of dropping out. of public awareness. I don't know. It's sad when people kind of become immune to things like that. Truth be told, I've heard more people complaining about the price of gas than I have heard about complaining about dead 10-year-olds. That's not an anti-gun or pro-gun statement. That's just a factual statement. And I do think that says something about us. Now, again, I'm not saying that gun control would have stopped that. I actually think the tools are in a different toolbox for that. But it's amazing how, people intellectually care about things, but when it comes to emotions, it's usually only stuff that directly affects us. But that's just human nature. We tend to care about our closest family, our local area more. And to some extent we have to, because if we cared as deeply about everyone, we'd be in a constant state of stress and upset, because unfortunately bad things are happening all the time. And that's not because the world's going to hell in a handbasket. It's because we've got hundreds of millions of people, and even if 99% of people are nice, law-abiding citizens, that's still that one person in 100 means that you still have thousands of nutters every day doing things. And of course we're into the not just 24/7 news cycle, but multiple 27 news cycles. And now it's not even just TV and radio like it was when I was a kid. Now it's TV, radio, and internet. And they've got to fill that time with something, don't they? So, yeah. So it's coming up on Father's Day weekend. And been working, the family has, on adding on to the cabin. I did that video a month or two ago. That construction is underway, and hopefully gonna go out tomorrow and start planning the new shooting range out there. Of course, it had to be when it turned hot, but luckily in the mountains there's a little bit of it's usually a little cooler out there. It'll still be warm, but between the mountains kind of giving better shadow and kind of encouraging a breeze, and and just generally speaking, being a higher altitude. Now the Ozarks are not super high mountains. We're not talking 12,000 feet, but even a couple hundred feet up from where you're at can really make a difference. So hopefully tomorrow is a safe travel and all goes well. Anyone have any plans for this weekend? And no new cats around here. Probably won't be any new ones, just because we're kind of at maximum cat capacity. I just finished doing laundry. That's always a fun, exciting day, huh? I think it's when it's this hot, it just kind of makes you very lethargic. At least it does me. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm thinking if I've got anything I'm kind of looking forward to coming up next week. Any new models or guns coming in. And no, not really. This week I had a few different guns and parts come in. But Eagle Moss hasn't really done much. Seems like they're transitioning more over to the superhero stuff, and it's not really my bag. If it's yours, cool. I'm certainly not going to cast any stones. Even as a little kid, I was not really much into Superman or Spider-Man. I like Batman a little more, but still wasn't too. And I was always more into sci-fi. Just kind of my mindset. And if you followed me on this channel for a while, you know why. It's just who I am, what I am. But yeah, generally I have just been kind of feeling quiet, but it's not in a bad way. Just doing that. on this Monday, I got to go for my yearly physical, so that was fun. Physicals get a lot more exciting when you're over 40, too. Need to go dig out some ammo for tomorrow in the building. It's too hot to go out there in the day. I never really keep ammo in the house. I'm always afraid if there's a fire, cook off. So I've always said it's good to store ammo in an outbuilding. Just my thunk. Could be wrong, but it's what makes me comfortable. Yeah. No, you guys have anything? See, this is the problem. This is a monologue thing. I'd rather have a dialogue right now. Why aren't you talking? You're being very quiet. Sitting out here you can hear frogs this time of year. I've grown up around here, and I can tell you what time of year, especially in the spring, summer, early fall. I can tell you what time of year it is just based on the sound of the insects and the amphibians. They change their tune and kind of swap in and out as the year goes on. Sometimes I do wish I had a place more outside of town with a little more acreage. We live in town. But then I think, I can't mow. I certainly can't brush hog. So what would I do? I'd obviously have to pay someone to do it. That gets convoluted. Gotta think about a lot of those little things. I was arranging to go down this weekend and told everyone, I was like, man, sometimes I wish I could just do what I want when I want to. Go, hey, I want to go down this day, hop in the car and go. Whenever I want to go somewhere, I have to kind of organize, figure out a person to drive me there, and then a person to pick me up, and what I'm going to do. And Lord help me if I get somewhere and no one's around, then I get hungry and want to go somewhere. Kind of SOL. Although I've had that situation happen to me in a foreign country, or two or more, and you're even more screwed then. I've spent more than a few hungry days in a cheap hotel room overseas, so everything's relative. I generally like June this time of year, but it seems like after the 4th of July I've had about enough of summer. Certainly by August I'm ready for cooler weather. We used to have it too when I was a kid and teenager, even when I got married. Septembers were cool, at least when the sun went down. Even during the day you could wear pants and maybe a short sleeve shirt. Sometimes you even needed a windbreaker if it was an overcast day. But now our Septembers have been as hot and muggy as anything. Kind of hate it. Octobers, which used to be fireplace weather, hovering right around freezing at night, and highs in the 50s, maybe 60s with the sun out. Now Octobers are 70s or even low 80s. But like I said too, April and May, they're not as warm as they used to be. May used to be quite warm because I remember going to the pool with friends. Again, I must be an old man talking about the weather. Fuck, it's easier to talk about that than anything political now because, again, you can't talk about politics now. It gets too heated on both sides. And, I like talking about it when it's an open dialogue to learn things and kind of bounce different ideas. But when it becomes aggressive and hostile, have no interest in that. Have no interest in that kind of fight. Life is very much too short. And as a friend said, when things get that way, I typically just shut down and walk away. Now, if it's something important, like if someone's insulting my mom or my wife, then I'll. But if it's not worth that, I just don't like that. And It's only gotten more so as I've gotten older. I think because my life hasn't been the easiest one. I'm not going to say it's the worst. But the reason it hasn't been the worst is because I've had good friends and family. They've saved me. But once you go through real shit and real challenges, yeah, you don't want to manufacture it, you know? Sometimes I think the people that really get worked up about that stuff, it's just because they're kind of bored. Their own lives are not especially interesting, maybe? I don't know. Going through the gun collection the other day, kind of in that weird position there too, where I'm just content, not really wanting to add something, but also not really wanting to sell something. I did really like getting that Beretta AR-7090 because it kind of completed the family. Picked up my first Carcano when I was in college at a little gun shop, pawn shop that wasn't very far from the university I went to. It was cheap, really cheap. Ironically, I think a box of ammo cost about as much as the gun. But had several Carcanos. I always wanted a BM-59. I remember seeing them at gun shows in the 80s and 90s, but they were very expensive. And finally, I bought into them. And I'm glad I did when I did, because then the price went bananas. Same thing goes with the AR-70 I've got. I bought that when they were about $1,500 to $1,800. Maybe I saw one for $1,800 in the box. Mostly just, same with Daewoo's. Glad I did. But anyway, on the Italian stuff, now, as I've said in past videos, the ARX 100, the Shimano ARX 160, it looks weird, but it's a really good shooter. And so I had the AR-70 and the ARX 160, 100, but didn't have the one in between them, the 70-90, one that over 100,000 are used by the Italians. So I just really wanted it. It's a nice looking rifle. It's a neat rifle, and it has that lineage in common with the Swiss guns. So that's a good thing. But if I'm being completely honest, I think what delights me the most is just to have the complete family and the complete generation timeline. Because parts of the BM-59 were carried over into the AR-70, and of course the AR-7090 is just a greatly product improved AR-70. And actually the ARX 160 started off in the very beginning, like around 2005, as a product improved AR-7090 before they evolved it so much that it just very much became its own gun. But yeah, I've done that. Done a pretty good job of having kind of the Russian family from the Mosin Nuggets through the SKSs and the AKs from Russia that I could get my hands on. Of course, American stuff. That's always been easy to get. It's just expensive. Kind of funny that we're in the country of it and it's so expensive, but also very understandable. Another niggling thing is my French collection. I've actually got a pretty respectable French collection, except for a FAMAS, which is annoying, but that's just not in the scope. I mean, that's a gun that makes the Swiss PE90, the Swiss 550 look cheap. And I must say I don't ever see that happening, but something will have to change. Maybe some parts kits will come in or something, but oh well. Same goes with the British L85. I know it's not a great gun, although I think the A2 version is probably better than it gets credit for. But, I've got all these British guns going back to the Lee Metford, running through the Lee Enfield and the Smelly and the number 4, the number 5, and then I've got the L1A1, the Sterling submachine gun, and then that's it. It would be nice to have an L85, but oh well, how it goes. But I do like having sets, and it's not just, hey, I've got this collection and I want everything. It's because I like lining them up and really seeing the evolution, both mechanically and doctrinally and just culturally. You can actually tell a lot about, people. I mean, hell, Grand Admiral Thrawn knew that, right? So he wasn't wrong. But you really can. I mean, look at Japanese guns. Oh, there's one. As many Arisakas and stuff as I have. Another gun that was very cheap when I was in college. I would love to have a Type 64 or Type 89, but that's in no way. Really, the only way to get that is to get an airsoft gun. There's not even parts kits, and there never will be. I would be absolutely amazed if the Japanese Self-Defense Force releases parts kits. It's phenomenally not possible, and that's by their own constitution. So it's just not. We'd stand a better chance of seeing Chinese Type 81 parts kits, and I'm not even kidding, because those could go to a third-party country, foreign country, to China, and then sit there for 20 years and then come over here. That's more likely. Oh, and by the way, Howa, Japan, never sold either the 64 or the 89 abroad. They were made expressly for their military. By the way, I have a pretty decent collection of Japanese modern, 60s and onwards, tank and mobile howitzers and mortars, and I've even got a bridge layer and a beach mine layer, which is kind of cool. They're a D'Agostini brand. I'll have to do a video on those one day. I just, again, haven't been in the mood right now, but that'll change. Maybe because it's hot. We'll blame the heat, right? Makes you want to mess with some guns. But, yeah, I know I've been relatively quiet on this channel this week. I mean, quiet for me, it's only putting out like 2 videos in a week. But I was doing nearly one a day for a minute there. That's when I had time and whatnot. I'm in good spirits. It's just kind of had a lot going on, just work stuff and family stuff and a lot of thinking about some things now that I wasn't ready, could not even think about last year, if that makes sense. I've been doing a little cleaning too, selling some guns and parts kits that have been sitting in corners for a while that I'm never going to deal with. Some sporterized Arisakas that I thought maybe I'd restore. Yeah, I never did that, so just sell them, move them along. Yeah. Hope this weekend goes well. Hope I don't sweat too much. My wife and I, we like keeping our place a little cooler than most people like to keep theirs. But, yeah. Again, you're not talking. I'm taking the whole load, so, hey, don't blame me, right? No, I guess I just wanted to have a relaxed talk. Again, there's been a lot on our minds, a lot going around, a lot of stress, and, in a lot of situations, no one's right, no one's wrong. It's just everyone's worried and stressed, and it takes a toll. It really does. I think we should just remember that most of us, our fellow citizens that are kind of around us, me, you, your friends, mine, we're not doing this to each other. Sometimes we kind of blame the people near us. That's human nature too. But something worth trying to resist. Because those people around you, be it your family or the Hispanic family down the street or the black family across the street, they're probably going through the exact same stress as you are. No. The sources of problems, really, they lie a long time ago. We're paying dues on checks that were written back in the 90s and 80s, heck, even the 70s. This is the end result of a lot of policies dating back years, decades. You can only kick the can down the road so far. Eventually, the bell tolls for all of us, and you've got to pay the piper, and all those other cliched things we say. But just because they're cliches doesn't mean they're not true. Yeah, I'll try to get some new models up and show you those. Again, hoping to get a little shooting done. It's just hard to shoot more than a couple of guns in a day when it's this warm out. And since where we were shooting is the cabin's being built on now, so we can't really do that. And where we will shoot in the future, well, that's not ready yet because we haven't done it, but we will. So really seriously, I hope everyone's doing well, and I do have best wishes, and feel free to comment below and discuss. With that, this is Misha, wishing everyone a good Father's Day weekend, and I'll catch you very soon.